So today's video is a quick response to Traveling with Russell's Grocery Semi-Challenge. There are a number of others that have done that too. There's Different Russia, Inside Russia, Sanctioned Island. Gosh, a whole number of people who have covered what shopping and prices are like in Russia and in Moscow in particular. This is in Ottawa, Canada's capital, in case it escaped anyone. And it's in a downtown middle-class neighborhood. We're about maybe 3 kilometers from Parliament Hill, 4 kilometers from Parliament Hill. It's a 10-minute bike ride. And so quite central in a city of about 1.5 million. It's a local chain. It's a local store, I should say, Metro, which is a large national grocery chain. The one at McKean's is where we're going, has been in the neighborhood as long as I can remember, and I'm over 70 now, so quite a while. It's been associated with a number of different companies. Currently it's Metro, which is a Quebec-based chain, if I'm not mistaken. These are all so the prices basically in a chain like this are all set centrally. It doesn't cost any more in Ottawa than it would theoretically in Toronto or Montreal or Vancouver. It might cost more in the north because, of course, the extra cost of getting anything there. But we're not talking about that. We're talking shopping in a major chain in a large city. I used the grocery list that Russell kindly provided me, since it covered most of the basics, and it was his suggestion occasionally in his videos to what's it like where you are. So I'm taking him up on that challenge. At the moment, the Canadian dollar to the US dollar, because I'll try and do both as we go through the video, is 75 cents Canadian to, 75 cents US to $1 Canadian. So our prices look about 25% more expensive, but that's mostly in numbers with possibly a higher actual cost to the product. But generally speaking, we're only marginally more expensive than shopping in the States. And I think that about covers it. I'll be doing a voiceover as we sort of wander through the video that I've taken, and I'll try and explain more along that line, but this is just a little intro, so hope you enjoy. So we start off here with a shot of the grocery store we're going to, Metro, across the street. It's a bit like a TARDIS in that the front is small, but it's a lot larger inside, although it is not a large store. It'd be about a medium-sized grocery store. It is in it's in a middle-class neighborhood, but we are a downtown neighborhood. So all our stores were much smaller. The Glebe was developed starting around 1880 to 1900, which is sort of prime development years. And so the stores were designed that way. This shop's been knocked together with a few, I suspect. At any rate, so we are doing a quick walk through. There are a couple of odd things about Canadian grocers. For some reason, they seem to think that even though we've been a legal metric country, and you have to sell everything metrically for 50 years now, that for some odd reason, the customer likes to keep two measuring pricing systems in their head, because I think the grocers think that we think that it's cheaper if it's presented to us in pounds. And for over 50 years now, we've been getting that with our fruit and veg, even though we've been obviously smart enough to figure it out for liters of milk and kilos for meat, although they are now slipping in pounds for meat. And I just don't understand it. I just think it's quite insulting myself. I mean, why don't they tell me what it is in kopecks? Because it'd be a lot cheaper. Anyway, so we're doing a quick walkthrough just to give you an idea of the size of the store. And sorry for that whinge, but that just doesn't make any sense to me, and it is slightly irritating. Anyway, sorry. Just down our snack aisle here. Now, if we were in one of the big Loblaws, which is the largest grocery chain in Canada, out in the suburbs, I mean, it like the stores that Russell shows us. They're just massive, and you can you need an electric scooter to get around them. Now, I'll be doing rough calculations of what the prices are in American, but Canadian prices are about 25% more. So if it costs $10 Canadian, it's $7.50 US basically. $3.75 US for 5 Canadian. So we do our little whip in, whip out. And we're back in the store. So the first hit is going to be oils. We don't use a lot of sunflower oil here. I don't see it very often. Our basic oil would be canola, which I think in the UK is called rapeseed, but it was determined that was an inappropriate term, having the word rape in it. So we start here, and the more expensive ones, needless there, are at eye level. And as you can barely see, and apologies, I wasn't very good at slowing camera down when I should have, I suspect. So the cheapest, it's a 750 litre bottle of olive oil is about $9 Canadian, $6.50 US, and goes up to $18 for the olive oil. You get down. This is where you see the sort of usual. There's sunflower. I didn't see that. But most of it is canola in this country. The large bottles are going for about $16, which is what? About $11 or $12 US. Now we move over to eggs. Eggs, chicken, and dairy are regulated industries in Canada, so only X number of people are actually in the production end of it. You need a license, for example, to run a dairy farm. So that's one of the reasons why our prices are higher. But the cheapest eggs here are $5.49 a dozen, and they go up to $10 a dozen Canadian, needless to say. I usually get, it's $4.99. The $4.49s are not a dozen, they're half dozen. And eggs are generally refrigerated and sold by the dozen here. I have started to see some larger trays of them in larger shopping grocery stores, but certainly not here. Now we're down in the tinned bean section. There's a whole bunch of those. beans, the musical fruit. There we go, $5 a kilo. Baked beans. I mean, who's going to pay $3 for Heinz baked beans? $2.25 US. And here we go into our pasta, the shishi, more expensive pastas. $6 for small bags, $5. Then we get the sort of commercial brands here, Catelli, Lancia. They're slightly more reasonably priced. Although you can't seem to get the small farfarelli, small bow tie. Craft dinner should be cheap. $2 on sale is not cheap. That would be $1.50 US on sale for something that isn't good for you. It is just a memory of your university days. But it is nice to have every once in a while because of that. Tinned vegetables, a lot on sale. Although most of them are the Merit Selection, which is the house brand for Metro, and I will say it does not merit selection. Tinned soups, $3 for the Campbell, approximately. So $2.25 US. Sauces. Oh, I think we wander over here, look at ketchups and condiments. And remember, you can always pause and squint if you want to look at the prices. So here we have mustard and ketchup. $10 for a large bottle of ketchup, $5 for those for the standard size, or $6 for the standard size. Yellow mustard, $3.50. So unless there's, $2.25 US attached to it, unless there's a US attached to it, it'll always be Canadian. Bacon. We didn't stop and look at that, but bacon's around $8 for 375 grams. Unless it's on sale. Sometimes you can get it on sale. Not good for you, but again, sort of like, it's every once in a while, one just needs to have bacon with their eggs or a bacon sandwich. And nobody's going to pay $4.25 for 200 grams of Ritz crackers. I only get them when they're on sale. Because they are nice. They're Ritz after all. I got some Tim Tams. A sweet treat. Can't go wrong with a Tim Tam. Here we are at flowers. Well, $6 for, or $6.29 for yeast. I bake my own bread now. Those are at $7.50 for 2 kilo bags of flour. And I usually get the large 10 kilo, which range in price from $18 to $25, depending upon who makes it. Went looking for sugar, couldn't find sugar, but then I see sugar. It's $3.50 for 2 kilos. So that's about $2.50 US or $1.25 US a kilo. I really need to do the vegetables because I'm somewhat shocked at those. Now we go around the corner here and we whip up the drinks and cereal aisle, although I don't eat cereals. Little chat there with the chap about something. Honey, $19. $12, $9. Peanut butter went from about $8 to $12. Oh, and I think we stopped back at tea. I like the Yorkshire brand, and I got it at Farm Boy for $7 a box, and they're being sold here for, if we get down to it, what is it? $11 a box. The same brand that I got for $6.99 at Farm Boy. Got a lot of maple syrup, by the way, though I don't use it as much as I should. Whip by the meat. We have a little look at the meat here, although I didn't stop long enough to actually get the prices. I did see that the leg of lamb was $25 a pound, or something like $55 a kilo, but we are talking about, that was a leg of lamb, so they're always a bit more expensive. But I got a kilo of ground at the butcher, because I freeze it up and then vacuum seal it so it stays, it'll last me, or it'll last for several months in the freezer that way. What did I pay for it? It was $18, and so that was about $10 a kilo for ground beef. $7.50 US, because I got a cottage pie which was $8, so it was about $9 for a kilo at the butcher. Here it's a little more expensive, but at least at the butcher you know it's coming from one or two animals as opposed to yes, yeah. Here's our toilet paper, $12, $15, $10. Cleaning, soft drink. Very small soft drink selection here, and for some odd reason in Canada, fruit-flavored soft drinks have disappeared, or they're just garbage. And I'm talking to you, Fanta, about changing your recipe and taking the actual orange juice out of your orange. So you've managed to take out any flavor that you did have. Our little deli section. Now, when you see these prices, remember everything is priced by the 100 grams. So if you're looking at $3.29, it's $32 a kilo. $39 a kilo. The rotisserie chickens generally are decently priced, but they're coming in around $12 now, but you can usually get about 5 meals out of them if you work it right. And they use that chicken that would have been chucked generally. Now we're going to do milk and butter, which are in the regulated industry area. And butter here, you will notice, goes from $11 for lactancia down to $7, or $8 I should say, $8 for the bog standard house brand. And I would suspect that is considerably lower in butterfat. I don't get merit selection because, as I say, I've not discovered it to merit selection. I get the Kawartha milk. It's local, more local than Seal Test, and it's only $2.99 a liter, which is about $2.25 US. Most people would be buying it in the bag, because it's considerably cheaper than buying it by the liter, but I just don't consume enough milk. I don't drink milk to start with, so it's basically for my tea and for bread, and when it comes to baking bread, I'm now using buttermilk over milk, and cooking, custard, rice pudding. So I generally can survive on a liter unless I'm doing something like a custard. Oh yes, I stood here and agonized over buying the Pillsbury cinnamon rolls, but it's ultra high processed food, and I always have to have 3 or 4 things on that before I break down. I'm trying to eliminate ultra high processed foods, and that basically means all baked goods on a commercial level. Little stop here, did the cheese, but also had a chat with a neighbor, and I thought I'd cut it out because it was just a chat with somebody. So we'll have to do a cheese and veggie and meat one in addition to this, because I thought I'd just get this up. It is a lot of work, so kudos to those like Russell and Different Russia, Valerie there, and Sanctioned Ivan, and any number of other people who do these, because they're a hell of a lot more polished, and it obviously requires a considerable amount of pre-planning and good videoing, which is I'm not very good at. So yes, we're just going to go by the bread section here. And bread generally, I haven't seen bread cheaper than $4 a loaf, and that's usually the sort of garbage bread, or Kleenex bread as it would be called here. Like Wonder Bread or commercial, a cheap commercial white. But Dempster's is supposed to has been promoting themselves as healthy for God knows how long, and they're just chock full of salt, and they're like $4.40 a loaf, $4.79. That's almost $5, and they're not healthy for you. Great, you're getting 12 grain, but you're also getting enough salt in there to salt the ocean. 42 grams a loaf in Dempster's. No explanation why. So, oh yes, I'm off to do rice here, because I don't generally buy rice at the grocery store. So I don't know where it is hiding most of the time. And Metro regularly reorganizes themselves ever so slightly, so you just can't find exactly what you want. I usually go downtown to one of the Indian stores and buy a large 10-kilo bag, which generally lasts me about 2 years. But it's dry rice. It's not going to necessarily go off on you if it's stored properly. So yeah, here I'm looking for the rice, and of course it's just across from the soup, it appears. Although I saw barley here. We don't use buckwheat a lot here. I don't think I've ever seen buckwheat, and if it does turn up, it's in that sort of shishi gourmet specialty section type thing. So here we have rice, pre-packaged, 900 grams there, $8, $10. Bog standard one, 2 kilo, $6. And then the larger bags, the jasmine rice, I think that was for $15. It's always better to buy things like rice and flour in large quantities, because it's considerably cheaper than buying it small. Look at milk. And it doesn't go off. Well, not fast enough that you won't use it up before then. And now we're just wandering back to get in line for my massive purchase of chewy caramel Tim Tams. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll do the cheese and we'll do the meat and veggies another day.